I think we brought some more people in, so they're coming later. No?
And David will film behind your head, so it'll look like there's plenty of people.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, welcome. Thank you for coming. We met before, so that's great that you took the chance to come actually to this session. Let the Phoenix Rise. So what we want to talk about is actually about our experience with a few customers we had, because we feel that they had challenges that probably some of you are facing as well, and the IT world is getting more difficult. Get your Domino environment under control and rationalize it, and that's what the session is all about. So we hope you get something out of it. We thought we'd try it. We did it at Engage, and it was actually really good. So they said. I can't comment on that. Quick introduction. My name is Stephanie Haidt. I'm the director for the BCC Limited in the UK. I'm in the Domino world now for 15 years, quite a long time, working with small to large organizations, helping them really to get their Domino environment a little bit more efficient, and that includes on the infrastructure side, server side, application development, and so on. So it's very challenging and very interesting. And I guess, Arshad, you can introduce yourself, right?
Yes, I'm Arshad, and strangely, I also work for BCC. I look after the technical side of things. Been in the notes world since 4.6, that's when I started. Been a consultant most of my life, and now I'm with BCC. And now I'm really honoured and proud as well to be an IBM champion for 2 years running. So, yeah, please.
You earned it, have you?
Well, probably.
Or did you pay for it? Okay, great. Super. So just a quick agenda, what we want to talk about, just very quickly what we do, talk a little bit about the IT challenges that we see today and the solutions. The case studies we want to bring up, funny enough, all of these companies are in the US, right?
No, two.
Who's not? I'm just thinking, okay.
Middle one.
But they're all different cases, and we hope that they can give you some more information on how you can handle your Domino infrastructure. And then a quick summary, and hopefully if you have any questions, feel free to ask. So what do? We work actually with organizations all over the world. We are a German company, so that's where it all arises. So most of our customers, funny enough, are in Germany, and in Germany, security and all of that is very, very big, as much as it is here in the US, but that's where the majority of our customers are. What we do, we have solutions for securing the Notes and Domino environment, and also to automate your processes in your administration. You know that because we talked about it. What is very important that we help companies to stay compliant. This is a big factor. You're not compliant, it means a lot of money that companies have to pay. I come to that a little later. And that's pretty much what we do. What are the IT challenges today? And I hope you see it in the same way. One massive IT challenge is the pressure for cost. I don't know if you're developers or administrators, but if you want to buy a piece of software, hardware, I don't know, services, every penny is scrutinized nowadays, and you really have to put a good case forward. So we see it every day, of course, because we're dealing with a lot of companies, and it's not just buying software from us, it's other things. Staff is reduced, and it's not a very easy way. Compliance is of course a major issue. Companies have to ensure that they are compliant and stay compliant, and it's a continuous task really to stay up there and to make sure that everything is in line. And data security and integrity, there are several cases as we all know, but how do I actually protect my data, and especially very sensitive data, and make sure that it doesn't go outside. But fact is, if we don't move on, if we don't adhere to these things, then our platform is under threat. And we hear it every day. I'm not saying everybody is migrating away from it, because that's not true, but companies do. And the question is always, how do I get my environment in a way that I can say to my management, we are secure, we are safe, and it's actually very cost effective and efficient. cost pressures, I just mentioned that. The good thing is that I think the IT world is trying to become better. They want to be better operations, more powerful. We want to make the systems more efficient. The bad story is that 80% of IT companies really struggle with the money, and they are under enormous increasing cost pressures due also to the financial crisis. I mean, that's where we saw it, I guess, extremely. Compliance requirements, I think, especially taking Sarbanes-Oxley, companies are more and more required to have real-time monitoring, have to monitor user activity on servers, managers are under constraint because they have to put internal controls into place, and they have to also report on those controls at the end of the year. So they always ask themselves, okay, what would be my report look like? I need to put it into place, but I have to make sure that it all works out. And I think it's a very big constraint on companies. I mean, I thought I'd dig out 2 examples. You probably all know about those, but that's just to say what's the cost of not being compliant, and it's not just obviously the money that companies have to pay out, but also the brand damage and everything that goes with it. And just 2 examples here: Morgan Stanley and Merrill Lynch, they had to pay huge amounts of money, and pretty much just because of failing to promptly produce emails over a period of 17 months, and it's crazy. I mean, 2.5 million and 1.5 billion nearly. I do not want to be in their shoes. Data security, a big thing, and I want to bring up the NSA debacle that we had. But administrators, of course, have high-level access to sensitive data. And in the case of the NSA, why did they have a security leak? Well, Mr. Snowden was an administrator and decided to use the information, maybe not to the advantage of the company. But how can you prevent that this can happen? I'm not saying every administrator is bad, but if they want to be, they have the information. And I just wanted to bring up the quote here from Eric Chu. I don't know if you heard of him. A security advisor who actually said that the scariest threat in an organization is the system administrator. Now, I don't know if that is true or not, but I can see why he would say that, of course. But if you're interested, you probably read up about it anyway. There's a link in there, and I'm sure you can have a look through. So what I will do is I will pass over to Arshad, who actually was involved with all 3 companies and found a solution with them, and obviously want to talk a little bit on what their problems were and how we help them. Yeah?
Okay, thank you. That was very quick.
Was it? That's fine.
Right, so what's the solution? Well, we'll find out taking the case of these 3 companies that we work with. First of all, let's see what the solution would be. We need additional monitoring systems, that's for sure. You can't just have administrators, you can't just rely on administrators' good nature that they will not do anything wrong. You need to reduce the access rights. You definitely need to have a 2-man rule. So not just one person should be able to do something or approve something or access the data. It's just like having a nuclear, launch code. So not only one person can do that. You need multiple people doing that. So it has to have an approval process, and you need to have audit. So you need to have audit-proof logging. So when you have the audit time, the auditors know exactly where to look, know exactly what to look for, who has changed what's going on in the system environment, etc., etc. And really automate things. Machines are better at doing things, and when you do manual things, there is a chance that error will creep in. And when you do all of that, you can easily reduce the TCO automatically. So automation is the key. So you want to increase your compliance. You want to be completely compliant, adhere to all these legislations and rules and regulations. You need to increase your security. You need to reduce the TCO. So automation is the key word, which we have found across all the solutions that we have implemented so far. So I'm going to take the example of a large insurance company. They wanted to boost their Domino security. I think it is the Actually, it is the largest insurance company in the US, one of the largest in the world, of course. They wanted to monitor. They wanted to monitor what was going on. They wanted to see who's accessing the data. They wanted to see who's changing the data. For example, the administrators, are they changing the server document, for example? Are they making changes to the ACL, for example? And much down their list of wishes was preventing, if possible, any unauthorized access. They were mainly focused on monitoring. And I've just given a quote from our contact in this company. And he was more concerned about making undocumented changes or reading user mailboxes. Now, if you're the largest insurance company in the US, and your administrators have the right, they have manager access to your email, they can easily go in and read all the messages, right? Which is not ideal. So that was his main concern, reading user mailboxes and making undocumented changes. But then they were more focused on monitor. I said, okay, fine, yeah, let's take that and move on. Let's go through the options. We could use Domino monitoring, as you saw in his quote. He said, it's not enough. It doesn't give me enough control, it doesn't give me enough information if I just use Domino monitoring. It's there, but it's still not as extensive as they would like it to be. They have a large development team, they're a large company. They could develop something internally, but then it wouldn't be standards compliant. It would have to be maintained internally. It might not be. It needs investment, of course. And main thing is it might not be standard. It might not be something which others are using already. The auditors might not like that. Because it's a third-party product, which is trusted by other companies. It has standardized features, and maintenance is, of course, done by the vendor. The last option, which was the scariest option, was moving away from Domino. It was quite real. I mean, they have got more than 100 servers, 130 servers, Domino servers, and they were thinking of moving away from Domino because of this threat, because they said, we have to look at this, we have to look at this. And there's somebody at the top who was saying, oh, Domino is not really the right option for us. So that was a very real threat, moving away from Domino, and we thought, no, we're not going to let that happen. So they decided to go with us, fortunately. And then we sat together and we said, okay, let's talk about what your requirements are. Main requirement was access to document and changes to documents. They wanted to monitor. Then there was access to the database. And lastly, server ID. They wanted to protect the server ID. And then again, they were going on about, oh, we have to monitor. So we said, okay, let's just think about it for a second. You're saying monitor. You're saying I, as an admin, have manager access to Mr. CEO's email. I go and open his email. I read his messages. And somebody gets an email or notification alert saying, Arshad Khalid has opened Mr. CEO's email. Great, fantastic. You've got the alert, but then damage is done. I can copy and paste that message and send it somewhere else. That's not enough. So monitoring only is not enough. How about preventing that person in their tracks? Preventing them, even though they might have manager access, but prevent them from actually opening that email, or prevent them from actually opening the database itself. Okay, good idea. Let's do that. And then we'll go to server ID, because that was not as important as they thought it is at that moment. So the solution was detailed monitoring in real time. So as soon as you do something, you change something, you access the document, there is monitoring there. There is a server task, in fact it's an extension manager, which tracks the access of everyone who is accessing that database, which is under the protection of this solution. You can protect it. You can track the modifications at field level, so you can see in the log. There's a log, central log. What was the old entry? What's the new entry? What was the old value? Who changed what? That was their main requirement. That was the thing that they came to us for. So detailed monitoring in real time. as soon as you do it. Then prevent. Control domino access rights. So even though you might have, you might be an admin, you might have manager access to Mr. CEO's email, but if you're not authorized, if you're not in the list of people who can access it, you wouldn't be able to. And this was not through the ACL, by the way. I know you can do it through the ACL, but if you're the manager in the ACL, then you have the access, right? So this is for people who are actually managers of the database, but then even then, if you want to prevent access from them as well, you can do that. You could block the changes as well. So if they make some changes in a document, they will just not be saved. They might think they're able to make changes, but they're not saved actually. Very happy so far. So going beyond the ACL document access rights, okay, there are readers' notice fields in every document. Yes, you can do that. You can control the ACL. But managers, designers, and editors should not be allowed to perform changes. And add a bit of granularity to this whole process. So even though you might be able to access a document, for example, server document, there's a field in server document called full admin. And you can edit that field, add your name in that, and you will get full access admin rights. So you can actually block that field. You can just lock out that field for certain people. Or lock out that field for everyone apart from certain people, vice versa. So that gives you a level of granularity within a document. So you can still open the server document, for example. You can still read all the fields. You can still modify everything else, but you're not allowed to modify this single field or multiple fields or the whole document. Very happy with that as well. Then we came to the protecting this Domino server ID. I know there are not many of us, but how many of you are administrators? I know you are. Right. Do you protect your server ID?
Yes, sort of. No, yes.
No. So, okay, let's go with no. And why no? Why not?
And why not? Well, we're not using Vault. Well, I don't have a good reason.
Do you want to restart the server automatically at some point, easily?
Yeah.
And you don't want to be at the console typing the password in the middle of the night?
No.
Right. Yeah. That's what IBM says as well.
That's job security.
That's what IBM says as well. This is a very oldish document, not very old, but you know. The main reason for not protecting a server ID is to make unattended reboots easier and simpler. Not a good enough reason to not protect your server ID. And there's this link which you can actually go in and look for it. So, so we showed them this, and they said, yeah, actually, you're right. But we do want to restart our servers in the middle of the night. There are 130 servers for, you know, for the entire organization. We can't be typing in the password every time you need to restart. I mean, we need to restart them for various reasons, like server updates, software update, whatever. Okay, well, you can do that. So this solution actually provides a password to the server ID, a random password. It could be your own password, or it could be a random password. And it stores that password securely, and it provides it at startup, and it makes the automatic server restart possible. So no need to worry about, oh, I need to get it in the middle of the night to start the server. No, you don't have to do that. It's there already. So that was also solved. The protection of ACL was also taken care of. So they knew exactly who can make changes or who is making changes. There's an approvals workflow there, so two-man rule. We've implemented a two-man rule there. So not just one person could do it. So if anybody wanted to make a change, it had to go through a certain workflow cycle. 2 people, 3 people, you can have as many as you like. And then the main thing was protecting notes documents. So changes, access, blocking access, in fact blocking database level access as well, so you can do it as well. So even though you might have manager access to that database, you can still block access at the database level. If I'm not authorized to access Mr. CEO's email, I won't be allowed to access that database. So they were very happy. Done, all right. Yeah, so this is one of our biggest success stories so far. And it's been going on a little bit about last Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it's been going on so far, and it's a very successful solution in place. And they have actually boosted the Domino security within the organization, and there is no talk of going away from Domino anymore. So they're secure. They are moving away from Windows to Linux, which is okay. So that was the boosting the Domino security part. Again, it was part of the automation. Then I'm going to go on to the global bank, and they wanted to standardize the administration process, which might be something which we spoke about last year as well. And this is a global bank, not a US bank, a European bank, huge, 100,000 users worldwide. And because they're a bank, because there was a financial crisis in the world, in the banking world especially, they want to reduce their cost, obviously, improve their profits, obviously, and yet adhere to all the compliance regulations. And we can imagine it's 100,000 people organization, so people are coming in, going out all the time. They've got contractors who come in for like 2 months, then they go away, then they're coming back again after 3 months or something. So not just onboarding and offboarding, but also locking their accounts, unlocking them again when they come back, for example, or deleting their accounts completely if somebody leaves for good. And the admins, they have a huge admin team, and also offshore admin team as well. I think IBM is involved in that. They're spending a lot of time just doing that, onboarding, offboarding people, renaming people when they get married. It takes a hell of a lot of time. Not very good. Not very cost effective either. So they have this initial situation in the bank. They've got these really highly skilled administrators who want to do something really good for the, with the Domino world and all that. But all they are doing day in, day out is, users. On, off, lock, unlock, stuff like that. They tried to develop something internally, but again, it was the thing with, as the previous example said, as I mentioned in the previous example, it wasn't standardized. It wasn't something which they could say to the auditors, yes, look, here's a standardized, compliant tool that we have that we're using. So they went back to using internal tools, i.e. the Domino administrator client, which is great, but then it takes time if you're doing all of that stuff day in, day out. So we sat down again with them. User onboarding and offboarding isn't really an IT process. It's an HR process. IT admin shouldn't really be concerned about that, really. So when I join a company, my HR department gives me my required stuff, my logins, my contract, my everything else. Why can't they give me a login? Why can't they set up my user account? Why can't we make it self-service? Of course, for that you have to be very organized. You have to simplify things, and that's when we get to the standardized part. So you have to simplify the whole process. You can't give you can't give the HR people the Domino administrator client. They won't know what to do with it. They need to know, just need a form to fill in. Yeah, first name, last name, date of birth, starting this point in this department. Yeah. So you need to have a detailed checklist for every task, which department is this person going to be in? Which groups does this person need to be in? Which manager is he or she reporting to? All those, big, huge checklists which they should have. And then again, simplify the standard system environment. And in this case, we just have the IBM Domino 901 running everywhere. The next step was automate. Once you have organized, standardized, then you need to have a process which automates all of that. So you have a self-service form which gets submitted by somebody. It could be an HR person, it could be a service desk person. And then that goes and looks at all the checklists, rules, creates profiles, whatever, and it runs on the server. And it also ensures compliance. So every single time you try to do that, try to add a user or delete a user or rename a user or lock or unlock, everything is being logged all the time. So nobody is ever in any doubt what is happening. Reduce access rights. So, as I said, HR people wouldn't need admin rights in this case. They would just need a simple form, a notes form, rep form, right? They don't need all these rights. All these rights will be taken care of. All this system backend stuff will be taken care of by this task. So you don't need to give anybody any enhanced access rights. So this is what happens in this process. This is just an example. Somebody submits a request. They create a form. In this case, it's a web form. It could be a notes form. It's a new person request form. And once they do that, there is a workflow involved. There's an approver somewhere here. Not on the screen anyway, all right. But you can have an approver. So the approver approves it, and once the request has been approved, all of these things happen. Now imagine all these things were happening or were being taken care of by the administrator who was doing this, like, yeah, I have to do this, create a file, do this. Yeah. All of these things are, obviously some of these things are taken care of by the administrative client, but some of them are not. For example, basic settings in the address book or workspace, links, workspace, bookmarks, etc. You can pair it up with other solutions to do it. All of that is done. The HR is happy, IT admin is happy, and once the process is done, you also get notifications out of the system to the requester, to the business owner. You're also creating a reporting entry, so it's all logged, and you can send a welcome email to the new user as well. And that's been happening for, the system is in place for the last 2 years in this bank, more than 2.5, something like that. And again, there is no talk of going away from Domino in this system. They're actually working with a common HR solution called Quest, and they have paired the solution with that. So HR people don't even go to these forms anymore. They just fill in their forms in their solution, in their HR solution, whatever they have, and everything just goes automatically. Everything just flows smoothly. There's less moving parts, less margin for error, or almost no margin for error, and everything is logged. Everything is documented. So it's just a summary. We simplified the system administration, standardized the technical procedures. Self-service is the biggest thing which people like in this organization. They still do. They can actually bypass all the security, the IT stuff. They don't have to fill in a paper form anymore. That I've got married. I've changed my name from Arshad Khalid to Arshad Haidt. Oops, probably
That
not.
would be funny. I missed that one.
No, so that's not going to happen.
It's rumors.
Yeah, there's rumors. Yeah, so you can actually do it yourself. People are doing it themselves. Changing their names, changing their departments. So I'm moving from this department to this department. Right. Fill in a form, off it goes, somebody approves it, everything is done. Moving from one group to another, that's also, again, part of the same thing. Mailing databases, huge part of this organization. They've got tons of mailing databases. They can create mailing databases and set them up with different email addresses. Again, it's all part of this solution. And then we did a survey after a year. So they were really able to reduce the management costs by half, which is great for an organization that size. And they actually could see a return on investment within 8 months, which is, again, fantastic news for an organization which was not that efficient. The admins weren't really happy that they had to do all that stuff day in, day out. They want to do more exciting things. They want to do more. They want to do bigger things than just creating users. Okay. Then we move on to the streamlining the application management. This is a very recent one. Again, US-based company. Their challenges were application maintenance. So if they have 5 business units, and all of those business units have Notes applications. They wanted to update the application design, or block users from accessing it, or grant access to users. And all that was happening by sending emails to the poor Domino admin person sitting there. They weren't really happy because you can't really audit email either. I mean, A, the person is busy with other things. Then he has to do all of those things, updating the design, switching on agents, switching off this thing, switch on this flag, sign this, sign that. No. And then auditing was a nightmare. So they wanted to reduce all of that and just have a clean process where somebody, for example, a developer, could just create an application, fill in a form saying, I've got this source template. This is the business requirement that the business has told me that you need to update the design of this. This is the target application, and it needs to be done by this time. Fill in this form, off we go. And then that request goes in to the system, gets processed, somebody approves it, of course the business owner approves it, and it gets applied, or the design gets applied in there. So, again, we are back to the same chart. We had to convert these administration tasks to forms, request forms. So you had application update form, ACL request change form, what else was there?
Log database,
log database, unlog database, sign the database, etc. So all of these things were converted into request forms. So Mr. Admin is not really worried about what email it has to be done, what database has to be checked and unchecked and signed and unsigned. There's a form which contains all this information. Configure backend server tasks. Of course, they're external tasks. They go through that checklist again in that request form, and then you define a standard output. So we know exactly what will happen in case you want to update the design. So if the developer says, I want to switch on 3 agents, or there's an additional agent which needs to be switched on, we know exactly that will be the output once this request gets processed. We don't want all those agents to be switched off, which normally happens when you update the design. You have to go through the agents again and switch them on again. So again, the onus has been taken away from the administrator and back to the user. It's more self-service, but in this case, it's more technical. It's for the developer. In case of the application update design. In case of, for example, I want access to this database because they have got something called break the glass access. They've got this shutdown period, so they've got like break the glass, and I need access to this database for like 10 days, and then after that 10 days, the access will be revoked automatically. So that's also part of this form. So the user is in control. I want access to this application for 5 days, 10 days. Then it goes to an approver. The approver maybe says, why do you need access to this application for 10 days? Or why do you need access at all? So they can reject it or approve it, which makes it move forward. So in this case, again, similar sort of workflow. There's a request. There's a form. In this case, it's a replace assign form. And in this one, there's an approver, as you can see here. I'm also saying sign this database, design elements only. The template is here. The template server is this, and there is a target database, etc., etc. And then that request goes. If it's a new application, an NSF file is created with a new template. If it's an existing application, it's updated from template. ACL groups are handled accordingly as per the request. If they need to be created in the Domino directory, they are done. It does that. If they need to be added to the ACL, it does that. And then, of course, notifications are sent out to all people. So the requester, of course, the business owner, and in case of any error, of course, the admin is notified. So, again, request goes through the workflow process, implementing a two-man rule. Tasks can be scheduled for off-peak time. That's a very important thing that they asked for, and they are really enjoying that because they can have application updates going on at 1 o'clock at night. They don't have to sit there and do it themselves during the daytime. So, in that form, which you didn't see that in that form, the screenshot which I showed you, there is a way to actually schedule those tasks at that time. Automation with almost no manual intervention. Well, almost because there are certain times when you might need some manual intervention. Somebody might be off on holiday or something, and they've forgotten to switch on their out of office, so it doesn't work, so the administrator has to go in and do something. But overall, they have automated their full application lifecycle from creation to design update, to deletion, to locking, to access. And again, they're quite happy. They have audits, which are they have logs which the auditors are very happy with. So when they had their audit this year in March, and they were really happy that they passed without any problems, and they weren't as many. They didn't have to spend as much time as they were spending before that. So yeah, that was a very good success story. Okay, so we move on to summarize. Benefits for IT admin. I'm going to show you. You know that you simplify the administration. Of course, you're closing the security gaps. You're securing the server ID, for example, or you are securing the actual documents or databases, even though you might have manager access to them, but you are securing that gap in there. It helps admins to concentrate on other bigger things in their environments. There is no dependency on internal tools, non-compliant tools, or dependency on internal developers. And of course, it's a standard tool. It's a simple form. Nobody needs to go to a school to learn what's going to happen in that form. Organizations are happy because they can proudly say that they are adhering to all the compliance policies. They, of course, enhance the security. Reliability is another one, because they're going through the request-based change management, so everything is accounted for, everything is done by at least 2 people, so not just one person does something. And of course, there's automated documentation, so auditors are happy. And IBM Notes infrastructure still is in place, and we like that to happen because we are IBM Domino fans. So as much as we can, we try to keep IBM Domino in place in the organizations. Auditors are happy because there's only one place to check. They don't have to go to different sources to check their the logs or the configuration changes, documentation, etc. So everything is there in one place, and they spend far less time auditing than they used to do because everything is there in one place, in one file, and it shows you clearly what has happened, who's changed what, and who approved what, etc. etc. So I'm going to go back to the slide that we had earlier. So in terms of improving your compliance, you're adhering to guidelines, you're avoiding penalties, you can probably say you're adhering to you have the corporate governance in place, you're improving your security big time, and you're standardizing the processes, self-service, and reducing human error. And all of that is using automation. Standardization and automation are the keywords that we have found in all our solutions so far. And these are just 3 solutions that I presented to you guys. We have numerous other customers who are almost in a similar position. And as soon as we go in there and we find out that they are having these kind of problems, that is the plan that we have come up with. Standardize and automate your process, and that helps a lot in creating a solution which works for everyone. It works for us because it's easier for us to support them. It works for them because they're ticking all the boxes, and it's a standardized solution. They don't have to worry about maintaining it, and everybody's happy. And with that, it's a wrap. Wow, 45 minutes.
Everybody has time for coffee. There you go.
Yeah, all right. Any questions? Yes.
Rashad, you said it's a solution. Is it a product, or is it mainly like a services-led engagement?
It is a product. Well, they're products, different products. We have, but they're based on the same principle: standardization and automation. So, for example, when we talk about the boosting the Domino security, it's a completely different product to what you do with database management, for example. But then they can be paired together; they work together.
But they are not shrink wrapped. Yeah?
No, they're not
That's
shrink wrapped.
also
You need services to go along with that. So you can't just.
They're modular.
Yes, yeah.
What I like about the operational efficiency, automating the admin, is so you're auditing what the system is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a process in place where you'll go back after 6 months and take a look at, well, what are they doing now? What are they doing a lot of? And let's go and automate that.
Mm-hmm.
And then 6 months later, let's do it all over again. So it's a very virtuous cycle, it seems, that the system just keeps improving itself with the organization.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, because all of our customers, we have an extremely good relationship with all of our customers so far. So yeah, we are constantly in touch, and we do that. What can be done next? What can be? For example, the global bank I was talking about, they have been running the solution for the last 2.5 years, but last year they wanted something else, like to integrate with the HR system that they are bringing into the organization. So we did that and automated that whole system as well.
I think it was the same with the investment firm, right?
Yes.
They want to integrate into
Yes.
that, yeah.
Yes. So they wanted to integrate with their ServiceNow system, which we are doing at the moment, which we are in the process. Yeah. All right. Excellent. Thank you very much.